Canada finds itself at a political crossroads, grappling with a snap election that has thrust the nation into a whirlwind of uncertainty. Just 6 weeks ago, Mark Carney assumed the mantle of Prime Minister, succeeding Justin Trudeau. The political landscape, however, remains as turbulent as ever, with Canadians preparing to cast their votes in a contest that will shape the country's trajectory for years to come. This election marks a pivotal moment in Canadian history. It is a battle for the soul of the nation, a contest between two vastly different visions for the future. On one side stands the Liberal Party, led by the newly minted Prime Minister Mark Carney. Carney, a former governor of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, is a newcomer to the realm of elected office. His supporters view him as a steady hand in uncertain times, a technocrat with the experience and expertise to navigate Canada through a period of global economic instability. On the other side of the political spectrum stands the Conservative Party, led by the combative Pierre Poilievre. Poilievre, known for his fiery rhetoric and confrontational style, has struck a chord with Canadians who feel left behind by the Liberal government. He has campaigned on a platform of lower taxes, smaller government, and a return to traditional conservative values. As the polls open, the outcome of this election remains far from certain. The Liberal Party, in power for the past decade, faces a formidable challenge from the resurgent Conservatives. The outcome of this election will have profound implications for Canada's future, both domestically and on the world stage. The stakes are high, and the Canadian people are watching with bated breath. Adding fuel to the already heated campaign is the unsolicited commentary from south of the border. Former U.S. President Donald Trump, never one to shy away from controversy, has inserted himself into the Canadian election with his characteristic bombast. Trump's pronouncements have sent shockwaves through the Canadian political establishment and ignited a firestorm of debate across the country. Trump, in a move that can only be described as audacious, has publicly called for Canada to become the 51st state of the United States. This statement, widely seen as a blatant attempt to meddle in Canada's internal affairs, has been met with a mixture of amusement and outrage by Canadians. Both Carney and Poilievre have condemned Trump's remarks, albeit with different tones. Carney, in a measured and statesmanlike response, urged Canadians to unite against the crisis in the United States and to reject Trump's divisive rhetoric. Poilievre, in his trademark blunt style, told Trump to stay out of Canadian affairs and to focus on his own country's problems. Trump's intervention, while undoubtedly unwelcome, has highlighted the complex relationship between Canada and the United States. It has also served as a stark reminder that Canada, despite its best efforts, cannot completely isolate itself from the political turmoil that continues to grip its southern neighbor. While Trump's pronouncements have dominated the headlines, it is the concerns of everyday Canadians that will ultimately decide the election. Voters across the country are grappling with a range of issues, from the rising cost of living to the future of healthcare. However, it is the plight of Indigenous peoples that has emerged as a defining issue in this election. For decades, Canada's Indigenous communities have faced systemic discrimination and neglect. Despite numerous promises from successive governments, many Indigenous communities continue to lack access to basic necessities such as clean drinking water, adequate housing, and quality education. The plight of Indigenous peoples has resonated deeply with Canadian voters, many of whom are expressing a growing sense of urgency and a desire for concrete action. Some voters, disillusioned by the Liberal government's perceived inaction on Indigenous issues, are turning to the new Democratic Party, NDP, which has made reconciliation with Indigenous peoples a central plank of its platform. The NDP, led by Jagmeet Singh, has promised to implement the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and to address the systemic inequalities that continue to plague Indigenous communities. As the polls close and the votes are tallied, Canada holds its breath. Early results suggest a tight race, with the Liberals and Conservatives neck and neck. The first seat to be declared, Labrador, has gone to the Liberal incumbent, Philip Earle. However, with 341 seats still to be decided, the final outcome remains uncertain. The outcome of this election will have far-reaching consequences for Canada. A Liberal victory would likely mean a continuation of the status quo, with a focus on social programs and environmental protection. A Conservative victory, on the other hand, could usher in an era of smaller government, lower taxes, and a more assertive foreign policy. One thing is certain: Canada is at a crossroads. The decisions made by Canadian voters in this election will shape the country's destiny for years to come.